Changing all is as easy as 1, 2, 3. It don't matter what you're changing it on. You ain't gotta have no lift. You ain't gotta have nothing. Make sure this top is on here right. You do not want to leak it out, baby. Especially if you're doing it in your driveway. 1, 2, 3. Get the bucket in place. Bucket is in place. Right up under the oil pan. See the oil pan there? All you got to do, and I ain't going to do it while I got this phone, loosen that bolt, and it'll come shooting on out. So I'm going to put this phone down and let it drain for as long as you got time to let it drain. And this here, a Ram 3500, so it's warm, and the longer it can drain, the better. See that thing came gushing out of there? Filled up that thing fast, boy. That's why I can't hold the phone, because I had this, I had it running. So it's warm. It's best to, when you're changing oil on a big truck like this, you want to get it heat up first. Let it be warm. So you get all that sludge out of there. So it came shooting out. I'm going to let that run while I go drain the fuel filters. And I'm going to change the crankcase filter, all of that too. Now, got the fuel filter, the oil filter loose. I can finish loosening it by hand. I'm tightening back up. Left loose, baby. And drop on down. There we go. Now check this out. I got it loose. I got this by Gito's Garage. All I got to do is add that in the top. Spin it in there. So when I pull this filter out, oil doesn't get over everything. So, alright, I got the filter top in. I'll just work it on out of there. There we go. And then I can take the new filter and go ahead and screw that in. And I'll be done. Now some people fill up their filter with oil, but I never do. Because it don't take nothing for this oil pump to shoot up this filter when you start up this unit. So I'm gonna have to put the phone down so I can slide this little hose out the way. I don't want to put pressure on the hose. But that's all to it. Change your oil. And then well, I'll just walk you through everything I'm doing. We're gonna let that oil that's draining down there, we're gonna let that stay draining until I get the fuel filters changed and the crankcase filter changed. All that can be done in less than 2 hours. Now I got the new filter on and I've already hand tightened it. So now what I was gonna do, I just gonna put this cover back on, because I took the wheel cover off. And normally you wouldn't have to take the wheel cover off on the Ram. I think the newer ones you can go up under there. I didn't check the new one yet, but normally you wouldn't have to. But what happened is, if you can see these lines, you see that bolt there, I've replaced these transmission lines several times. One time I had them rubbing against the turbo, and then one time when the transmission went bad, I needed to replace the lines. And so I have these lines. I had to, when you get them from the factory, I didn't have everything out to put them how they were factory, so I had to take them apart, and that's why this gap is here, and I don't have enough space to remove the oil filter without removing this wheel cover here that goes around the wheel. So I just removed that, just a little extra 5 minutes, and I'm gonna now put it back on. And then once I put it back on, I'll get to taking off the crankcase filter. Crankcase filter should be replaced every 67,500 miles. I'm not exactly sure when the last one was replaced, but I realized something. The last crankcase filter that I did replace, it wasn't Fleetguard, so I prefer to do Fleetguard. And I'm just going to change it. It's got a good bit of miles on it too, but we'll see. We'll do one thing after the next. So next, let me get this wheel cover back on. So this is a 5/16 inch wrench. I think the millimeter size would be, I don't know, 8 millimeter. I know it's not 10, but anyway, so it's 4 bolts. I'm gonna put them to the side over here, and this cover comes off. You gotta take off the take out the dipstick, and then once you take out the dipstick, you're gonna see it's, well, let me show you. Once you take out the dipstick, pull the cover back, then now you'll see some more bolts here, all around. It's about what, 8 8 bolts, 8 more bolts around this cover. And then you take out the oil cap. You want to plug a piece of clean tissue. You don't want anything going in your engine. But once you loosen those bolts, then you take out the oil cap, and this cover comes off. And all it is, it's a filter, the crankcase engine filter. And you just take the new one off and take the old one off, put the new one on. Simple as that. Bada boom, bada bing. But I'll show you. I've got all the bolts, screws out for the crankcase filter, and as you can see here, I'm not even going to unplug it, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the phone down, and I'm going to take one hand and just slide this out. This is the crankcase filter. I can lift it out of here, so I'm just going to put one hand. I'm going to lift it up out of there, and then this is the new crankcase filter here. Yep, so that's it. This is how it looks at the bottom. Just slide the old one off, press the new one in. It's not really a messy job at all. So let me put the phone down, get that done, and then once I get the old one out, and also when you get to the back here, it's not difficult. I just use the same 5/16 inch wrench to get those back screws off. I'll show you how they look. They're like this. You got 2 back screws, because they hold the plug there that plugs up back there for the crankcase filter. So you can get that wrench over that, and you just need a stool. I had to kind of hop all the way up on the truck. But if you get a high stool, if you're short like me, less than 6 foot tall. If you're 6 foot tall, you're good to go, baby. Just get you a little stool and reach over, and that's all. You can use that little same wrench, 5/16 or 8 millimeter wrench, to get all those bolts out. That's it. And then that's how you change the crankcase filter. So I'm going to put the new one on, put all the bolts back in, put the oil filter in, and then now I still got the oil drained in there. I'll put this cover back on, and then I'll go and I got to drain the fuel filter. I got the rear one draining already. Then I'll drain the front one, and then that's it. Less than 2-hour job, baby. And I'm glad I followed my spirit and changed out back to Fleetguard, because I didn't realize I didn't have Fleetguard until it just came to, it came to my spirit, and I looked at it. The one I ordered, it didn't have, it looked similar, but if you back up the video and you notice, the one I just took off, there's a gap here. It didn't fit smooth. See, the Fleetguard one, it fits along this entire edge. And, I don't know, maybe that's me being a perfectionist. I'm not an engineer, just know how to take care of my regular stuff, PMs, but this is how it came from the factory, fitting flat, and this is what I've been using Fleetguard. But that last one, I don't know, sometimes these people are changing up stuff with the parts, so don't let them get you. But now this all fits flush here with the aligning around the system, around the whole top of the engine. All right, got the cover back on. Everything is back in place. Crank case filter changed. Now, this fuel filter housing, this front fuel filter, I'm going to open this drain. Left is open. There we go. So now that's draining, and make sure it's all the way open. While that is draining, now I'm going to let that drain. I'm going to go to the rear and go ahead and change the one at the rear. I'm going to take the sensor off, and then I'll take it off the truck. Let's go. Okay, so I've gotten up under there and I screwed this entire filter off. And now, what I'm going to do now is examine the new one, because remember they were making counterfeits. So I'm going to take this sensor off of here, and all I used is this old filter wrench just to unscrew it. And then this is a wrench I got from Amazon. This is the fuel sensor wrench. You can order one of these from Amazon. So I'm just going to put this on here and take it off and look inside and compare it with the new filter before I put the new filter on this time. See here, same Mopar box that the last fake filters came in. Only this time these are sealed, like how Mopar seals it. But one of them were sealed anyway. But so far, I'm happy with what I see. Because if you can look down inside, see this is the old filter. This is the new one. They look the same. So they're all the same. Inside of there looks the same as inside of this one. And I flip it over. Look at it that way. Oh, I gotta take this off first and put the. So when I flip this new filter over, you can see inside. It looks the same on the inside of there as it does on the inside of this one. It's got that same little indent right there in it, that little black piece in that hole, and I see that little black piece in this hole. So yeah, I didn't want to order any more to keep in stock until I use this. So now these are my last filters. I'll just go ahead and order me another set to have it in stock. But yep, so now I'm gonna put this sensor here after I change the gasket on the sensor. I'm gonna change the gasket on the old sensor, and then I'll put it back together with the filter, close the sensor, and then I'll show you how I screw it up in there. Okay, so this is where the fuel filter housing is. I don't know if I can do this. One, two. I'm just gonna screw it back. I've got the sensor back on. I've got the gasket on top of the filter, and I'm just gonna stick it up there. I don't want to cross thread it. Oh, I ain't even got it threaded on there yet. Yeah. I think I got it cross threaded. So there's a gap right there. And it's closed on this side. Yep, I don't got it on there right. Okay, now I don't have it cross threaded. Fits right. There we go. And that's simple as that. And I can just put it hand tight. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it hand tight. That's pretty tight. Right there. Yep. Then I've already closed the hole at the bottom where I had it draining. And now I'll take the plug and plug the sensor back in. Press it till it clicks. There we go. Rear fuel filter replaced. Now let's go get that front filter off. So this has been draining. All this fuel is drained out. So now this is the setup that I have to get it off. I got this extension with the swivel connector adapter, and this is a Duralast socket. Not sure what size this is. Let me see. I'm not sure. what's that, 28 Duralast. So I'm going to stick it behind this computer plug here. And boom. And then now I'm going to take my ratcheting wrench, and I'll loosen the cap. I need 2 hands for this. You got the top off. Now what I'm going to do is take this little pick here, and I'm going to take off the old gasket. Just going to pick up under it and put on the new gasket. And then I'll pull out the filter and compare the new filter with the old filter. Okay, so this is the new filter. It's got Fleetguard Cummins on it, and it's not that dirty. And this is an original quality filter. And I noticed when I have the original filters, the front filter is never dirty. When I had those fake filters, that front filter was extremely dirty. So I don't know what was up with that, but this is a clean filter, which is a good thing. And it's the same as this one here. So now all I'm going to do is put the new one in, press it down, and that's it. Fuel filter is changed. Front fuel filter is changed. And then I'll put the top back on. And then what I'll do is switch it on, switch it off about 8 to 10 times before I try and crank it. That way it'll let fuel circulate. The oil pump would also pump oil. And then, because now I don't have oil in the filter, and the crankcase filter breather, that's not saturated. But anyway, so I'll switch it on to get the fuel pumping through the lines after I get the mileage stuff cleared up and stuff, and get everything written up. And then I will make sure I don't have any leaks. One thing that I forgot was to put the boat back on the oil pan. I saw the oil on the ground, and I was like, wait a minute, I ain't added oil yet. So that's how long it's been drip, 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 drip. So I'm going to put this boat back on, torque it down to 35. And once I torque it down to 35, then I'll go add oil and do my switch-ons. Simple as that. So I've got the oil. I didn't use a full 12 quarts. It's like, what? What's left in here? I can't really see where that line is on this jug. But I think 1 quart is left. Yeah, it looked like 1 quart left in there. So really, I had 3 of those Rotella. So I used 2 and all but 1 quart. So that means 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So I used what, 8, 10, 11. Yeah, I used 11 quarts. The whole thing would have been 12. That's what they call for, the manufacturer. But what I normally do, I'll put 2 full gallons in there, and then a half of one, and I'll check my stick after it sits for a while, because I don't want to overfill it, and it has never taken a full 12 quarts. So right now, where it's at on the stick, it is full with 1 quart left in there. So I'll just throw that in the truck to have it, and all is done. So this is in less than 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Oil change, oil and filter change, crankcase filter change, and both fuel filters change. Less than 2 hours. They're not bad. See? Do it yourself. DIY. A DIY. All right, so let's get this thing started up. Alrighty, I've already cycled this thing 8 times. So this will be the 9th time. And we are gonna crank it up this time after the check engine light blinks. When you switch it on, diesels, you're supposed to switch on a diesel before you just start it up. But when you switch it on, once that check engine light blinks about 8 or 10 times and it stops, that means there's no pending code. If that check engine light stays solid, that means there are pending codes on the computer or stored codes on the computer. Oh, still ain't got enough fuel to the top of the engine. So even though I pumped it 8-10 times, probably 2 more times, it'd probably be good to go. Let's see. I'm gonna do it 2 more times. All right. Come back, guys. So that bleed the air out of the system, but I'm gonna cut it off and do it again. I'm gonna try to wait 1 minute, let the oil filter, everything fill up with pressure. Oil pressure is already up. I'm gonna just wait 1 minute, let it circulate good. Some people crank it several times. Like, I'd rather switch it on and off, but cranking it bleeds the air out of the system. Some people will just crank it and let it go, and it'll cut off. They'll crank it, it'll cut off. They'll crank it, they'll keep doing that. But I find if you just cycle it on and off about 10 times or so, and then you crank it, it may shut off, but cycle it two or 3 more times, and then crank it, and it'll, you don't have to keep cranking it so many times. It'll probably, it'll run that second time or definitely the third time. But anyway, so Mate, where are you? All right. Now I'm gonna cycle it again. There we go, baby. Everything's good to go. Mate. Oh, there you go. She's sitting in the van. So that's it. Oil change, fuel filter change, crankcase filter change. Do it yourself, baby. Less than 2 hours. It don't take that long. Save that money, do it yourself.